See, you will understand much better when we'll teach decentralized planning. Means after decentralized planning, when you will read it again, so you will have more better understanding. Because decentralized planning means we'll talk weaknesses of this. This you should know that. Now let's come to our point. The way we told that there is a budgeting system, similarly it is a planning system. You go on establishing a planning system. A planning system means you have the machineries, their roles are defined, they have been created with their roles and functions. It is defined that they have to do which thing, when and how. Right. Then there is a system of plan review, you have to review the plan. So you have a system in work. This, like as we told that this planning starts from this, it goes to Planning Commission, NDC, Parliament. And ultimately it is approved. Then it became a 5-year plan. Again it has to be evaluated, midterm review, then 5-year plan review. Then again it will be following a mechanism. Now we don't have that mechanism. Whatever the steps we told, since there is no planning. Since there is no planning, like say the way we had planned, so National Development Agenda is not a plan. You need to understand this. It is just for the namesake, you can say that it is perspective plan. But there is no mechanism of National Development Agenda. There is no process of National Development Agenda. There is no structure of National Development Agenda. National Development Agenda is prepared by NITI AAYOG through consultation. But you should know that the plan, draft 5-year plan was prepared by Planning Commission, but entire machineries participated. Right. Union Ministry departments, state governments, local bodies. There was participation. And there was participation of Parliament also. But National Development Agenda, you know that when it is prepared, so when draft 5-year plan was prepared, so it will be approved by NDC. Approved paper was also given by NDC. But National Development Agenda is not approved by the Governing Council of NITI AAYOG. This you have to understand. So basically it is a more union, nationalistic, means a union approach in planning. Hardly states are, in the name of bottom-up planning, this is how we say that states should plan. The states are not taken into consideration. That is one. So there is no process. Then when there is no process, so there is no link between them. What NITI AAYOG has National Development Agenda, and whether a state has a plan prepared or not, there is no synchronization. So the link is not established between national plan, state plan and local plan. There used to be a link between national plan, state plan, local plan, because they were prepared together. So when this is a district planning committee, you know that district planning committee was set up in 74th Amendment. If you have read for prelims, Metropolitan Planning Committee was created in 74th Amendment. Already prelims question has been asked. So which will teach in rural development and urban development, especially about their structure, functions, how they function. So then you will know. So district planning committee, metropolitan planning committee, they are the best body for planning in local level. They plan their own and they will have to submit to state government. State government will this again, let's say consolidate it, prepare a state plan, submit to planning commission, and that is how it goes the process, and that is what a system of planning you say. Now since there is no this link, they have to prepare the state plan themselves. And they have to understand them themselves. Right. So they are planning also themselves, they are understanding themselves also, and funding themselves also. Right. Similarly at district level, whether the state government is going to integrate it or not, we do not know. But here let's say when the process is started, so district plan will be submitted to state. So it was a mandatory aspect in a 5-year, but now whether at a state level, whether districts and whether urban local bodies, they are planning, they are submitted to the state government, and whether when they submit to the state government, whether it is being consolidated. Right. Very less data is available, in fact no data available. You'll find that when we search for planning in Uttar Pradesh, so it is very difficult to get data on that, right? Whether they have really planned anything after 2015, although I have searched it, by tomorrow once again I will search it, because in past I did not get any input on that. So this is what you will know, that whether they have prepared their draft development plan or not, we do not know. But there used to be, we knew that the state plan has been prepared when there was a planning commission. At least when it was published in the newspaper, when planning commission deputy chairman with chief minister had a photograph published in newspaper. तो एटलीस्ट वहाँ से पता चलता था कि हाँ चलो स्टेट प्लान भी होता है. Anyhow, now, so when there is no link, this is one problem. The system is not there. Now, the most important problem is this. So let me tell that, although I should not use multiple colors. Suppose we say it A. Already I have told A somewhere in this. No, we told that. Let's take A. Let's take B. Now, when let's say A had already problem. We'll deal when we'll talk decentralized planning. In general, we'll tell A had lots of problem. What the problem? So the first problem is that, do you think state has the same level of resourcefulness as union in case of planning? थिंक टैंक नहीं मिलेगा, राइट. यूपी का थिंक टैंक कौन है? द फिलोसफर इज योगी जी, राइट. दिस इज सीरियसली स्पीकिंग. सो रिसेंटली यूपी गवर्नमेंट हैज ब्रॉट चेंज इन द सिलेबस ऑफ फिलोसफी, and they will teach 2 books written, one by the scholar Yogi ji and philosopher, I told yesterday, Ramdev Baba, means Chester Barnard, right. So this is how it is. Basically, let's say ki, taking aside he is a bold person, etc., whatever you can say, that you need think tank. So do we have think tanks in state? Like the way you have think tanks like NITI AAYOG, like say planning commission. So you lack think tank, you lack resources, right. Plus you should know that only 4 states have metropolitan planning commission or metropolitan planning commission, or sorry, planning committee, and only 14 states have district planning committee. And in that also 14 states, district planning committee is not empowered, it lacks capacity. आपको पता ही है क्या होता है स्टेट लेवल पे गवर्नमेंट ऑफिस में, स्टाफ नहीं होता है, चेयर नहीं होता है, टेबल टूटा होता है, फाइल लेट्स से दैट की, सॉरी टू से ऑल दिस थिंग्स. सो सिर्फ जो ग्रुप ए ऑफिसर होते हैं, क्लास 1 ऑफिसर, उनका ऑफिस जो है बिल्कुल नीट एंड क्लीन होता है. खासकर आई से दैट द तौलिया दैट दे हैव ऑन देयर चेयर. Anyhow, sorry to say that. So because I observed that it is so clean they keep it. The question is that how they manage, I don't know. So the question you will find that they don't have ability to plan, resource to plan, staff to plan, and only 14 states have. तो बॉटम अप प्लानिंग पे हम इतना ज़्यादा झंडा क्यों गाड़ रहे हैं? सॉरी टू से दैट. बॉटम अप प्लानिंग व्हेन यू आर सेइंग, तो व्हाट इज द लेट्स से स्टेटस ऑफ बॉटम अप प्लानिंग? ऑलरेडी इन द प्लानिंग कमीशन इट वाज डेप्लोरेबल. So when it is, let's say under planning commission itself, it is deplorable. So let's take B. And when we say NITI AAYOG is for bottom up planning. So has it changed? Whether there is any improvement? No improvement. So there has been no any improvement. We have the facts also will tell when we'll teach it. The B means A has not improved when it has become B. So we are not planning at all. This you should know that. We are in a stage or a state where we are not planning at all. And it has been left to the states to plan. So when states will plan, so when they will plan? So they will plan when they desire. It depends on the governments. Okay. And that is how, let's say that it means the planning has become even worse than what it used to be under planning commission. The condition. And that is how a serious criticism to NITI AAYOG. Right. Ki how it can succeed without having a system of planning, or it should improve it. If we are talking bottom up planning, so it should improve this. And once it should improve it, it should bring link with this, its own national development agenda. Means even if it is not linked to national development agenda, it should be linked with sustainable development goals. And when you link with sustainable development goals, you have to also adopt intersectoral approach, right? Interdepartmental approach, because they are interlinked. Poverty alleviation, health, education, sanitation, so they are interlinked. So that is what it is considered as intersectoral. That is called convergence. Do we look for policy convergence? But that is a very different level of thing. No need to talk all these details. So this is what is status we can say. So we have made planning headless in our country. So let's summarize in few lines. I guess, is it clear? Are you able to understand? Or is it becoming complex?
Sir, can you tell a little bit about the statement of no planning at all that we have been using here?
Right. See, when it has been left to state to plan, right? So, when a state will plan? When there is no 5-year plan obligation, the state also does not have a 5-year plan obligation. So what exactly state should plan? And when it should plan? For what it should plan? This is not clear. First. Second is that ki state planning board, do you know status of state planning board? Basically, let's say that ki the weaknesses of state planning board, district planning committee, metropolitan planning committee, they were somewhere overshadowed by the role of planning commission. Because it was a think tank. If there is a flaw in planning by them, it has the resource and think tank expertise to address it. But now let's say that a state plan is not submitted to NITI AAYOG. So that state plan, if it has any flaw, so it is not being corrected. The state is not supposed to plan and submit to NITI AAYOG. This is first. Whether state should also go for sectoral planning. State should have a state plan the way it used to be in planning commission, or state should have a sectoral planning, education, health, etc. Right. Third aspect is that कि it's for planning it needs funds. Right. For planning it needs fund. So there was a system established. The plan outlay was given. You should know that कि state plan outlay was given. When a state plan was made, the central government through planning commission released the state plan outlay. And the day state plan outlay was given, the fund was given to state. That day, that is how photo came of deputy chairman of planning commission. That is how you should know that. Now let's say that ki fund is given by Ministry of Finance. Planning is done by the state. There is no link between them, because there is no convergence between them. There is no integration of that plan. Right. So this is a problem. State, it is not a state planning board, but it's also other, let's say, local bodies planning institutions. So then let's say that there is no any legal obligation on the state to plan as of now. There is a moral obligation to plan, but always state complain that they lack fund. You should know that कि स्टेट का काम इतना स्टेट्स खासकर स्पेशली नॉर्दर्न स्टेट्स उनका कंडीशन कितना बुरा है, उसका मैं स्टोरी आपको बताता हूँ. सो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ होम अफेयर्स ने पुलिस मॉडर्नाइजेशन का फंड दिया टू स्टेट्स, उत्तर प्रदेश, उड़ीसा, ऑल स्टेट्स. उसके बाद दे सीक रिपोर्ट फ्रॉम द डिपार्टमेंट, कंसर्न डिपार्टमेंट, वेदर फंड हैज़ बीन यूटिलाइज्ड. So they get the report case fund has been utilized. Then Ministry of Home Affairs decided to have surprise visits to check whether they have really used the fund or not. The one officer was Dipti Garg, working in Ministry of Home Affairs. She is now IPS. This is how she shared. So they visited Odisha. And when they visited Odisha, so office members, employees were shocked. Right. They did not expect such, let's say, scrutiny. When they inquired in detail, so you know what they had done to that money? They had used that money to pay salary, not in police modernization. Right. So several states' budget is in deficit. They are running their system somehow by here and there. आप हेल्थ का फंड होगे तो वो सैलरी में पे करेगा. अब जब एजुकेशन वाला फंड होगा तो वो हेल्थ में खर्च होगा. सॉरी टू से दैट. दैट्स वाई विल फाइंड दैट कि जो स्टेट एम्प्लॉय होता है उसका सैलरी टाइम पे मिलता नहीं है. राइट. दिस यू शुड नो दैट द कंडीशन यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. So since here I am not supposed to give you fact, when we will take decentralized planning, there we will write with facts, so then you will be more trustworthy. So the question what we are saying is that states are not in a position, except some rich states, to plan for themselves, right? And fund, because they lack fund, they lack resources. They do not have a structural mechanism. Whatever the structural mechanism you have created, they just exist on paper. They exist on paper more than in reality. As I told you that only 4 states have metropolitan planning committee, but we are supposed to create in every state metropolitan planning committee since 1992, when it has been implemented. But you have completed 3 decades, but only 4 states. What they prepare in case of urban local bodies? Master plan. Right. Master plan is not a development plan, you should know it. Master plan is a regulation plan. कौन से illegal building को legal बनाना है? Sorry to say that. So master plan is not right. Anyhow, so that's why let's say that if you go into the real aspect of the success, this is how the situation. Right. So it is left to the states to plan. Yes.
So supposedly, prior to the NITI AAYOG, some states have, take any particular state, it has prepared a 5-year draft plan for the development process. Now the government falls because since 1977 there has been an increasing certainty in the state governments. Okay. Supposedly the government falls, and when the new government comes in, so the head or in charge of the government, he has to implement the policies as per the prior plan. Is it compulsion or he can change it?
No, no. Once you have a 5-year plan, it's funding. So generally, it does not happen. You discontinue it and you have a new plan. Like say we had 12 5-year plan so far. So when a 5-year plan has been prepared, so a state has prepared its also 5-year plan as per the union 5-year plan. So it is in synchrony. It cannot be changed. Otherwise, it results into lack of synchronization between planning commission plan and state plan. So that is how you will find that ki state plan is in quite synchronized with, means it was quite synchronized with union plan. So there is no such scope even if a new government comes to power, because planning it takes time. It's not a one-day work. Preparing a 5-year plan takes time. Yes.
So in that way, like you said, the states are facing resource crunch. So in a way, it is a positive thing also. Like if there is no budget, so whosoever is in power, he can divert the limited resources according to his whims and fancies. Like in the sense, whims and fancies, like this area he focuses upon. Like he has the scope, he knows the area scope for
Yes,
development.
but let's say that that will not bring a long-term perspective. We told that what is planning. The planning is assessment of the resource availability, resource gap, and what are the impediments in the process of development, and how can we overcome those resource gap, and how we can bring, let's say, desired outcome. So these things are the long-term perspective. So then when you start planning, so you focus once on agriculture, next on industry, next on social sector. You cannot focus, let's say, once in all sectors. You prioritize. What we did in budgeting, so we prioritize. So in zero-based budgeting, you go on prioritizing. Can we, let's say, focus on all the sectors of the economy at the same time? So you have to prioritize. So suppose you have prioritized this time education. So then next time you will prioritize health. So you are done with education. Like say you have achieved certain level in education. So this is how it is done. Like say as of now the economy is in distress. It is in distress. So then accordingly you have to prioritize. So that is how, let's say, planning should have a short term and a long term focus also. That's why it was annualized also. Or 2 times it happened that annual plans were also there. But still you should have a long term focus. Because in short run you cannot develop. This you have to understand. Every sector demands a long-term approach, not a short-term approach. And when there is a disruption one after another, it is like, let's say, तू चल मैं आता हूँ, sorry to say that, means let's say that कि पता ही नहीं चलेगा कि आपने क्या पॉलिसी बनाया, उसका क्या आउटकम हुआ, और दूसरे ने क्या पॉलिसी बनाया, उसका क्या आउटकम हुआ. So there will be no link. Suppose मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ, कल मैं एक दूसरे टीचर को यहाँ इंट्रोड्यूस करता हूँ hypothetically, right? And suppose he starts taking class on planning, isn't it? फिर क्या होगा?
No plan at all.
See, why I teach all topics, all chapters, let me tell you. Because I know what I have taught in chapter 1. I can link in plan. But suppose I give this class to a person, he does not know what was taught in the, let's say, first chapter. So he cannot link it. Or when I am saying that the way it happens in budgeting, we linked. I told UPSC and CBC. He will not tell it. Right? Because he has not taught that. He has commitment with only plan chapter. Right? So this is what we have to understand. So what we are trying to say is that there should be link. You should know that even if there is a change in the government, they do not generally discontinue past government policy. Let's say nuclear deal. It started during BJP time, Vajpayee time, and materialized during Manmohan Singh time. So it is not that if a government like Vajpayee came to power, so they do not, let's say, tamper with planning. They also had the 5-year plan. Right. So this now when present government has brought, so then it will be subject to more scrutiny because you have a radical departure. So when you have a radical departures, it will have a radical scrutiny. It will not go without scrutiny. By scrutinizing whether the system that you are adopting is better than past system. So that is how this it is being said. So since government has not done on this one, suppose government does it, it will be better than that. Suppose in future government brings link with its national development agenda, with a state plan, it helps to the state, it let's say overcomes the problems of this which are very ideal, then we can say that yes, it is better. Otherwise it is worse than what it used to be in past. This you should know. So this is what we have to write. So let's summarize on this.
Then why there is so much boost about NITI Aayog doing bottom up planning and all?
It is since a new government with new energy, rhetorical, new body, give it a chance, like that. It is hoped that in long run it will overcome. The child is yet growing, let's say. So we should not become too much harsh. That I will tell towards end. Then, so because of this we say, yes, it does have some good work. It should know that. It is still not, means we are not able to understand that even if government has done so many things very good, but why it is politically very different? This is not understandable, which is spoiling its positive, let's say, contributions. Right. So maybe they will understand in future. So they are conflicting with the states. They impose president's rule. They are not letting the parliament to function. They are not letting parliament to scrutinize. They are not letting the judiciary to scrutinize their policy. Right. So this is how, let's say, that it is not a right posture of the government. Simply because you cannot develop just by executive. Even if executive has to govern, you have to understand that once you establish a system that will govern better than a leader, this you have to understand. So because in long run it will not be. So this is how we say that the honeymoon period of what we say Modi ji has got over. Sorry to say that. Means this is how in English it is said. Means the good era when he was able to earn all the praise and people support, still people support. But now let's say that the government has to show result. Once NITI Aayog is constituted, you appreciate it, we appreciate it. Now NITI Aayog has to perform. So you have framed education policy, it is appreciated. But after 5 years we have to see how it has performed. So since policies have, let's say, they are so radical, they are so futuristic, they match to the contemporary needs of the society. The policy level they are doing, let's say that if you see ignoring certain aspect. But as far as implementation is concerned, so there you have to, let's say that, improve a lot. That is what we have to say. So let's write few lines on that. Therefore, under the helm of NITI Aayog, there is dismantling of a system of planning established since independence, led by Planning Commission. Because NITI Aayog supposed to promote bottom-up planning. as against centralized planning. Centralized planning. But in last 6 years, it has been found that the problems of bottom-up planning have not been addressed. Problems of bottom-up planning have not been addressed in terms of, first, the state's resourcefulness and capacity to plan. The state's resourcefulness and capacity to plan, especially poorer states. Second, district planning committee and metropolitan planning committee have not been constituted by all states, and simply they lack physical, financial, human resources for planning. Like, since state plans are no longer linked to any plan at national level, including national development agenda. Hence, states are in lurch. When to plan, what to plan. Change the paragraph. Therefore, conditions of bottom-up planning have become even worse than what it used to be during planning commission time. Even there are no reports after 2016, 15 and 16. After 2015 and 16 on status of bottom-up planning. Generally, Ministry of Panchayati Raj used to ask to independent think tanks like TIS to carry out devolution index, to prepare devolution index for PRIs. The last devolution index was prepared in 2015 and 16. And therefore, it is highly rhetorical when it is said. NITI Aayog promotes bottom-up planning, as it lacks substance. In past, when 5-year plan was prepared, the state 5-year plan was also prepared. Hence, there was integration and also funding. Since Planning Commission was an expert body, it was capable of assessing the resources of states and their problems. But in the era of NITI AAYOG, there is sectoral planning by ministry departments like health, education, rural development, etc. And therefore it is said that NITI Aayog should intervene in bottom-up planning and establish a link between national development agenda and state plans. That's why it is said that there should be a system of planning. There should be a system of planning. System of planning. Although it may not necessarily be similar to 5-year plan. So this is what we address. So this we almost had addressed. Let's write. Change of power. Let's NITI Aayog encroaching on policy domains of the executive. An informal understanding has been introduced. An informal understanding or mechanism has been introduced that all the policies of the government should be approved by NITI Aayog. That has brought also conflict with some ministers like transport minister, railway minister, etc. Since it is a think tank, the government is of view that the policies should be also scrutinized from the perspective that whether it has cumbersomeness, complexity, whether it has been formulated from the perspective of evidence-based policy making. Therefore, it addresses the lacunas in policies. However, that also results into conflicts with ministry departments. Like in case of transport bill or motor vehicle bill, amendment bill, there were differences between NITI Aayog and Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari, and he had to remind that I am Transport Minister. Therefore, it is said that it is too much power given to NITI Aayog. Hence, it is also like planning. It is also becoming like planning commission, acquiring executive powers. It has also established program evaluation department. It has also established a program evaluation office, right, similar to planning commission. So these are the things. Let's conclude it on this. Even if views have been expressed by experts for NITI Aayog to be restructured, however, it is also said that it has only 6 years of its creation. And hence, having a very harsh view on NITI Aayog is uncalled for. It is expected that it will learn itself from its weaknesses and criticisms and improve in future. The government has introduced a set of radical reforms, including institutional and structural reforms. Hence, their institutionalization will take time. In fact, its vice chairperson also accepted that in employment front it has not done anything substantial, which it would improve it would improve. It shows a receptive view of NITI Aayog. It shows a receptive view of NITI Aayog. And that is a positive end. So that is how we end by this. So you should know that NITI Aayog has kept itself from controversies. It has still kept itself on all politically charged environment, separate from that. Let's say government is facing too much criticisms on COVID second wave, demonetization, migrant crisis, but it has not come into that political crossfire. This you should know. Yes, it came in the farmers' protest. There is too much of democracy by Amitabh Kant that result into lots of criticism. So they may have realized that our contours are different and we have to set our limit. So that is how it has maintained that distinction. You should appreciate for that. But yes, 6 years are also not. So many reforms government has taken. So let's benefit of doubt should go to the government. It is like this. It has taken many, let's say, centrally sponsored schemes, reforms or fund transfer reform, GST reform, IBC reform. So all these reforms they have taken. So settling will take time. Then they have faced the crisis like once in a century. This is how. So that also we have to take. So in this way, let's say that in the end we should give benefit of doubt to NITI Aayog. And by this we finish all those. So we think we have dealt all the questions that we wrote day before yesterday also. And you will be able to answer questions related to NITI Aayog. Other questions have also been asked. You can see this. So we'll finish. We'll take further.
Live online classes are as effective as offline classes. Ethics with S. Ansari remains the best ever choice. Do you know that ethics paper is the only paper in general studies that pays more with less efforts? One can easily secure 130 to 140 marks. LUKMAAN IAS is a well-established name since 2014 for ethics paper. We offer 3 types of courses: Ethics Foundation course, Ethics Case Studies, and Ethics Test Series. Since 2015, LUKMAAN IAS students have maintained the records of securing the highest marks in this paper. Ethics Foundation course is starting from 21st of June 2021. Classes will be for 4 days in a week from 11 am to 1:30 pm. The course duration is of 60 days and the videos will be available for 75 days. There will be 43 classes, of which 35 classes will be focused on theory and concept building and 8 classes will be dedicated for case studies. There will be over 180 case studies and 3 tests. Since 4 months are left for prelims, one can easily finish the ethics paper before prelims itself, and it's a good opportunity. So why to wait? Contact us today for more information. Welcome to LUKMAAN IAS, the Public Administration Foundation. Live online classes are as effective as offline classes. Study Public Administration optional under the guidance of S. Ansari, the one who has taken this optional to a new height. Since 2011, LUKMAAN IAS students have maintained the records of securing the highest marks in this optional. Go through the course features of Public Administration Foundation for 2021. Live classes are similar to offline classes in terms of the concept building, the interaction and addressing of students' queries, and the dictation of notes. There will be elaborate discussions on concepts, theories and principles, linking them with contemporary and current developments. In the live classes, notes are properly dictated the way it is done in offline classes. In fact, it is one USP of S. Ansari Sir's classes. Optional is like a religion. You have to study it with a discipline and dedication under a guru. Most students get good ranks due to ethics, essay and optional, for which one does not have a better choice than Lukman IAS. So, contact us today for more information.